Today I'm going to talk about something a little different. Swimming. Swimming was a large part of my life, and if you're not a good swimmer or you think you could improve, I think this would be a video you might want to listen to or watch all the way through. If you're a really good swimmer and you're competitive and all that, then go jump in a lake or something because there might not be anything new for you. But if you do have some problems with your swimming, uh, maybe this guy sitting in a wheelchair can help you out just a little bit. So let's just talk about that for a little bit. Um, I taught a lot of swimming. I taught in college. I taught adults in college. I taught children how to swim. I taught mentally impaired people to swim. That was a lot of fun, believe it or not. And even at one point, I taught a paraplegic to swim. That's pretty ironic now that I'm a paraplegic myself. Inspired by him, I have to make it back into the pool someday. But swimming was always my life. When I was a kid, I was in the pool all the time. I would eat breakfast, go to the pool all day, and then come back for dinner. And I just enjoyed the heck out of it. And in fact, I remember I have one memory of when I was about 10 years old, a lifeguard at the pool challenged me. I think he challenged me, or maybe I challenged him to a race. So when they cleared out the pool for the 10-minute break they had every hour, he and I raced, and I beat the lifeguard, across the pool. One of my fun memories. But when I got into high school, we didn't have a pool there, so swimming had to go away for a while. When I got into college, I made the diving team, but I also took all the classes to become an instructor and everything. So it was a big thing. I didn't do competitive swimming until my 40s when I learned about master swim, and then I got into it, and now I'm with a bunch of people like me, geeks in the water, and we want to learn, we want to get better, and compete and do all these other things. And I did that. I was a competitive swimmer up until I was 60 years old, which was 5 years ago when I got paralyzed. So I haven't been able to do it since then. But I'm addicted to pools. I'm addicted to swimming. I can't watch somebody swim without noticing flaws and thinking, okay, this person should just do this to get better. I'm automatically, I'm a teacher at heart when it comes to swimming. So I, it's well, and I'll talk about something like in college when I was there's this a college student, and he was learning to swim for the first time. Very buff guy, no muscle, or I mean, no fat at all muscle, and got him to the point where he could swim in the shallow end just fine. And I said, okay, do you want to go try the deep end now? And he goes, yeah, I'm in for it. So he goes in deep end and immediately goes under. So saved him, pulled him up, and we went back to the shallow end and go, okay, let's try this again. So we went through the swim again, and he's swimming well again. We go back to the deep end, he's ready to do it again, and he went down again. So pulled him up again, and this time I said, okay, let's go to the bleachers and have a talk. So I went to the bleachers and I said, you're swimming fine in the shallow end, but you can't seem to do it in the deep end. It's the exact same water. What are you thinking? What's going on? He said, well, no, it's the water's different when you're in the deep end, and it's and I said, are you talking about pressure? He goes, yeah, it's the pressure of the water is different. So, it's different. So it makes it harder for me to swim. And I go, well, okay, the pressure is in deeper water when you go down deep, like, 10 feet, 12 feet, 20 feet, etc. And the pressure does get a lot higher because the water is condensing, and it makes it, ironically, easier to float. That's why when people are scuba diving, they have to wear weights because, they're being buoyed up so much by the water. And he went, oh. And so we went back in the deep end, and all of a sudden he could do it. So it's all just his mind telling him he couldn't do it. But that's the thing I love about swimming. I love it. I love to watch people swim. I love watching competition on the Olympics and everything. So one thing I do now is, even though I'm no longer swimming, is I do watch masters swim videos on Facebook in a group, and occasionally somebody will post a video and it'll say, here's my stroke, can somebody help me out? And just watching just watching them swim, you can see things. You can see things that they're doing wrong, and then you can give them advice, you know, just on Facebook without even seeing them. You know, like one of the advices is somebody got on and said, I'm new to this, and I can't go across the pool one time without getting completely out of breath. Well, the problem with that simply is he's breathing too hard. You know, when you're taking your stroke, and we're going to go mostly with a crawl stroke here, but I'll get to some of the other strokes. But with a crawl stroke, you take the smallest breath you can possibly take, like a baby's breath. So when you're getting ready to breathe, you just go that much breath. That's all you need. Like even do that to yourself right now. Just go, and then see how long you can hold it. You can hold it for probably 30 seconds, even a teeny little breath like that. You only need enough breath to make it to your next stroke. If you're going, if you're doing that, you're sending all this oxygen to your muscles, and that makes them more tired, is what it does. So yeah, of course, when you get to the end, you're totally out of breath because you oxygenated all of your muscles, and you just wore yourself out. So you take the teeniest little breath that you can do. You only need enough breath to last you for about 2 seconds. That's not a lot of breath. Another thing that I see when I'm watching a crawl stroke is somebody when they're breathing, they'll turn their head like that to breathe. You don't do that. When you're doing a crawl stroke, when your arm hits the water, you rotate your entire body and then you take your breath. You don't turn your head whatsoever. So if you're hurting your neck doing it, you're doing it wrong. You just, when you rotate, you do it. And the other thing I see a lot with people is you'll see them get like both eyes out of the water. You only need to get, okay, when you're going through the water, your face creates a vacuum behind it. It makes the water kind of go like this, and you can breathe right into that little area that gets scooped out of the water. So when you watch me from the side, for example, it looks like I'm still underwater when I'm breathing. I kind of am, but I'm not, because there's air that was made possible for me by what my face is doing by displacing the water. So you don't turn very far when you are trying to do, with your eyes. So you shouldn't have two eyes come out of there at all. Just a teeny bit. That's all you need. The other thing, is you don't want to breathe up front unless you're doing open water swimming. I mean, if you're swimming out where there's sharks and fun things like that, where then you want to be able to lift your head up to see where you're going. But that's a whole different matter. So it's got nothing to do with just a normal stroke. Another thing you might consider doing if you're breathing is learn to breathe on both sides. Then that way you can watch on both sides of you, especially competitively. Then that way you can see what your competition is doing on your right and what your competition is doing on the left. So learn to breathe on either side would be another thing. Another error that I see very often is called an overstroke or understroke. That's when your arms, when you're doing a crawl stroke, your hand should enter the water straight ahead of your shoulders. So if you're going too far to the right or too far to the left, that's going to cause you to weave in the water. And you want to have all of your motion, everything, you want to have it going toward where you're swimming. Otherwise, you're just kind of caterpillaring or snaking through the water. You don't want to do that when you do it. So you can see overstrokes fairly easy. And if you want to test yourself on an overstroke, if there's no one to watch you to do it, go into a pool or somewhere, close your eyes and swim. Then see whether or not you curve to the left or you curve to the right. If you curve to the right, then you're either overstroking with your right hand or you're understroking, which means hitting the water too far to the side. So you're overstroking one or the other. Just make sure this right here, straight ahead of that, is where your hand should be entering the water on that. So it'll keep you from having any other kind of problem with it. Another reason that people run out of air when they're swimming would be that they kick too hard on a crawl stroke. A crawl stroke should have, if you're doing any kind of distance at all, your crawl stroke should be just very minor flutter kick. So you're just barely moving your feet, because your feet, your kicks, don't get as much forward momentum as your arms do. And if you kick too hard, you're using more energy again, and then that makes it harder for your arms. You're going to wear out easier. So the only time you really want to have a really hard kick when you're doing a crawl stroke is when you're sprinting. When you're sprinting at that point, all you're looking for at that point is speed. So it doesn't matter if you use up the energy or not, because you're using it all up. So with a flutter kick, and my flutter kick was something called a 2-beat crossover. So it'd be like boop, boop, and cross, boop, boop, and cross. And the cross comes when I'm doing my breath. So when my right arm would hit the water, I would rotate, take a breath, stroke, 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 and then when my left hits, and then I would do the same thing on this side and just turn to that. So that's another thing that you can work on, is just that kind of thing. And for some of the other strokes, I'm not going to go into them too much with it. The butterfly, if you don't know how to swim, I know people will go out there and they'll attempt to do the butterfly when they've never done one before. My one comment on that would be on the butterfly, if you're going to do it, is know that there's 2 kicks per stroke. So when your hands hit the water, you do a kick at that point, and then you do your full pull, and then you do the second kick at that point. So it's going to be kick, kick, and pull, all in one stroke. The breaststroke is another one that I see some errors that happen a lot. They have that thing called the frog kick. You're not a frog. And I see people do this a lot. When they pull their legs up before the kick, they'll have their knees wide open, and then they'll do their kick. That's incorrect. You don't do that. When you pull your knees up towards you, your knees should be about 6 to 12 inches apart from each other, and then they will go up wide when you do your kick. But when you're pulling it up to your body, you don't have your legs open. You don't have your knees open. You don't open them until you do the kick. Flip turns. Somebody was showing a flip turn on YouTube the other day. I'm sorry, on a Facebook channel I was watching, and the person that they took a picture of was totally upside down on the flip turn, getting ready to kick, and they were saying, "What am I doing wrong?" Well, you should land, if you're doing just a flip turn and then you're just doing the crawl stroke, you should land with your legs, with your feet sideways. You should do a half twist on your flip, so your feet land sideways against the wall, and then when you push against the wall, then you complete the twist at that point. So you're not doing the whole twist at the end. So I know some people have been working at flip turns and they can't do them because I think they're trying to do a whole flip and a whole twist, and that's too much. Your body doesn't want it. I mean, you can do it, but it's not going to be the best thing to do with it. So anyway, that's my talk on swims today. I'm thinking someday maybe I can get back in the pool again. I've actually looked at the Olympic records for paraplegics at my age, and I think if I can get into a pool, I don't know, I might have a shot. But I don't know what's going to happen if I get in a pool again. But in the meantime, I can't get in the pool, but I'm going to help those people that can get in the pool. I'm going to enjoy them just by watching what they're doing, and I've got my memories of the pool. I may not be able to do it anymore, but I have my memories, and they are really good memories. And the pool is a great thing for me, even the chlorine, and even the pee in the pool. I don't care. The pool's fine. So anyway, thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope any of this helps. And if you have a video that you want to send to me, friend me on Facebook or something and send me the video. I'll be happy to help you out. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.